how do you want us to see you?
Val, these are good questions. I just was like, it's like I'm prepared, but I wasn't prepared. I was like, okay. And I want people to see compassion. I don't think people see that sometimes with me. I think people see this hard edge. My friends sometimes say I'm shady, but I'm sensitive, I'm compassionate, um, I seek and I want to receive love. So I want to be loved. That's how I want people to see me.
Hi, and welcome to another edition of King Crush Thursday, the series where we highlight and uplift Black men, because frankly, not too many people are doing it. My name is Val Gay, and I'm super excited about this brother today. Let's see. First, he is a Guggenheim Fellow. So excited, fangirling over here. He is also a dancer, a choreographer. He stands with Who's Who, and he's an educator. His name is Mr. Tommie-Waheed Evans. Hi, Tommie-Waheed.
Hi, it's so lovely to be here. Oh my God, wonderful intro. Thank you so much. I feel so honored.
Oh, absolutely. We're honored that you are here. I am so glad that you are here. And your presence here is really helping us to bust open very narrowly defined and myopically portrayed portrayals of Black men in our
Mm.
society. Often, and I say this just about every week, that what we see in the media isn't necessarily incorrect. A lot of times it is incorrect, but not always. But it is definitely, most definitely incomplete. And as another brother poetically said a while ago, 95% of us are doing the right thing. We are
Mm.
lives productively. We are taking care of our families. We are being impactful in our communities. And yet, somehow or another, the media only seems to focus on that other 5%. And so we really want to tip the scales back over a little bit to widen our full and our societal purview of your demographic, which is as myriad as the number of Black men on the planet. So this is our little part in widening this purview, if you will. And so because ultimately, one day my goal is for a young king who may or may not have positive Black male role models to come to this repository, see the same 6 questions that we've developed answered by well over 150 Black men right now, and
Mm.
hopefully find guidance there, right? And then for the rest
Absolutely.
of us, right? And for the rest of us who are neither male or even Black, to be able to come to this repository and have our minds opened so that ultimately, like I said, you can just be a human being. And I believe our whole
Absolutely.
world will be better, right? And so
Absolutely. Absolutely.
I'm so glad that you're here. And we're going to get started with the first question, which is, what does manhood mean to you?
Oh, wow. And we're off. Um, there's a lot I wanted to say from what you just said, but I'm gonna answer the question first and hopefully I can kind of like get in some of that. Um, what does manhood mean for me is very complex because, I was born in the 80s, I was raised in the 90s, right? And I'm a Black queer male, and I feel that in recent years, manhood, the visibility of manhood has expanded and has opened in ways that include more textures and more sensibilities. I feel like when I was coming up, to be a man was to be not vulnerable, was to be macho, to be closed off, to be protective, to be a leader, to, get out the car and, pump the gas for your mother, to go get the bags, to open the door. which in my life as today, as a 43-year-old, I still abide by. You know, my mother needs her gas pumped, I'm going to pump it. If someone's carrying heavy bags, I definitely want to do that. But I believe that now manhood is vulnerable, is of complex textures, it's educated, it's sensitive. It's all these many things that I think that when we look at the definition from the 50s to 60s to 70s and 80s, it just was not. Which is exciting now that, you know, we can be, you know, I read somewhere like, you know, black men do cry. And I think growing up, he's like, you know, you was told not to cry. You was told to hold it in, to, to stand tall. And, you know, now I have friends that in our 30s and our 20s, our 20s, 30s, and 40s, like, you know, we cry with each other. And we're black. I should say that. We cry, we're vulnerable. Um, Manhood is being an individual, you know, liking and loving who you like and love, embracing whatever religion you embrace, our spirituality. Manhood is, I just want to say, it's complex. It should look different. It should not look the same on many bodies.
I got that. Got it. Excellent. Thank you. Thank you. So Tommie-Waheed, who and or what is important to you?
Oh, wow. Who and what is important to me? I want to start by saying my family. You know, my mom, um, my father passed away when I was 21. Which I was going to say this after your beautiful intro, what you were saying about the statistics. My father was a part of the statistic that the media showed. And one thing that was really amazing, though, was he did not want me to be a statistic. So he went out his way to share with me to not follow in his footsteps. And what I mean by that, my father was incarcerated. He sold drugs. He, you know, had many different charges. And I actually have a couple of cousins who were involved in gang activity. But I'm gonna focus on my father right now and say that, you know, there was this one time when my mom caught me. I had stolen a little red car from the toy store. And I want to say I asked for it and she said no. And in some kind of way I stole it. And some kind of way she found it. And without really heavily grilling me, she said, okay. And she walked away. And my father at the time was incarcerated. There was just one night or one day, the phone rang. She answered it. She accepted the charges. She handed me the phone. And that black man stood in a penitentiary in California where I can hear the guards and other inmates around him and the loudness of the environment and told me all my rights and told me how I had no right to steal that car, how he was very disappointed in me. And he was like, I do not want you to end up anything like me. Nothing. He said, listen to your mother. She is going to be your guide. So my mother is what is really important to me. We sometimes don't get along, as I think sometimes mother and son, mother and child does, or we don't see eye to eye, but she's always there for me. She's a heavy supporter. If I need to get to Tokyo by tomorrow, she can contribute money. If I call her right now and ask for prayer, she will do so. And then that type of love billows out to my best friends, Lamar and Kervin and Tony and Elise and Usha. Billows out to some of my dance family, Joan Myers Brown, Donna Faye Birchfield. This type of love that I feel from them makes them important in my life now that, you know, I think that we're a lifetime. Like, for instance, with Joan Myers Brown, I've been knowing her for like 20 years now, and she's been in my life. And I think I was telling a student one time a story about JB in a way that I think I was upset with JB, I want to say. I was upset. And I was like venting to this student. Why am I venting to a student? I don't know, but I'm venting about it. And this student eloquently just said, she said, you know, whenever you speak about Joan Myers Brown, she's like a grandmother. I feel like a family thing from her with you, like your relationship. And it really opened my eyes that day. So she, and it's important to me, dance is very important to me. Dance saved my life. It gave me a direction, it's given me a path to go forward on, even as in recent weeks when it's down and out, when you can't see your way. Still, while on vacation, I was doing a ballet bar in my swim up pool, and down the way, a couple was just looking at me, and one of the guys was like mimicking me, but I was just like, I find myself dancing without even knowing I'm dancing, and I say that to say, like, dance is hard right now. It's a very difficult thing for me to be inside of, but I can't leave it. And it is just part of my path. Um, so yeah, that's who my family, my friends, and my what is dance.
Wow. Wow, wow, wow. I have so much to say about Miss JB. She is amazing. I'll just say to folks, if you don't know who Joan Myers Brown is, please Google her. She
Go.
is a cultural treasure.
Yes,
And
yes,
I
yes.
one of the many who actually knows her, and I hug her every time I see her because
Yes,
she's
yes,
just
yes.
so awesome. Excellent. Thank you so much. And so that brings us to question 3, which is, how do you want us to see you?
Val, these are good questions. I just was like, it's like I'm prepared, but I wasn't prepared. I was like, okay, how do I want people to see me? Oh, that's a really good question right now because I just feel like the last month, I don't think I've been seen in the best ways with some people in my life, but that's another podcast. Um, I want people to see my passion and my love, not only for dance, but for life. Um, my love of God and my family, my friends, love. I think I want to focus on, I want people to see love through me. Um, I want people to see and feel, I changed your question, generosity. Generosity in the studio space, generosity in my regular life, generosity with a stranger. Um, and I want people to see compassion. I don't think people see that sometimes with me. I think people see this hard edge. My friends sometimes say I'm shady, but I'm sensitive, I'm compassionate, um, I seek and I want to receive love. So I want to be loved. That's how I want people to see me.
That's really beautiful. Really, really beautiful. Thank you. Thank you so much for that. So question 4 is, what is your epic dream?
That my epic dream changes, right? It changes. It changes. So I'm gonna say what my epic dream is today. So when I'm in my 60s and I reflect on this, I can say, I was thinking too, like, um, a couple of years ago, do you know Laura from The Painted Bride? Laura, I can't think of Laura's last name, but Laura asked me to think of my dream project when I was first starting out as a choreographer. Like, what is your dream project? And I think in my 20s and 30s, I was thinking too small, right? But now, to work with Alvin Ailey and New York City Ballet and any major ballet company. And what I mean by that, I mean big budgeted ballet companies like Royal Ballet, Paris Opera. That's a dream. Definitely think New York City Ballet and Ailey is attainable, but I'm trying to be more out my boundaries. My dream is to really, truly, fully be happy. And what I mean by that is there's a lot of times, Val, where I can say I want this thing to happen and it never happens because I think I've said it. Or I can say I want something to happen and the opposite thing happens and it's really great. But then I'm questioning, well, why is that happening? So when I say by happy, just genuinely happy and seeing and fulfilling all these things and to the things that are unexpected, really understanding like why it's been placed in my life and seeing it, and not so much like just going on this journey. Like I ended up in Philly, but now that I can reflect, I see why I ended up in Philly 20 years ago. And I think when it was happening, I was kind of going with the vibe. And then it took me like so many years to see that, oh, no, this was destiny and this is what's meant. So I just want to be able to be in this space of happiness, but also understanding the why, but also comfortable in manifesting.
Got it. I got it. Got it. Awesome. Thank you. Thank you. So you have been answering question 5 all along implicitly, but I'm going to ask you question 5 explicitly. Mr. Tommie-Waheed Evans, who are you?
This is good. This is really good. Like, who am I? Because it's like I've already said so many other things that I want to repeat. I'm an artist. I am a funny person. I'm a creative. I'm sensitive. I've been told I'm funny. I think I said that already. No, did I say that? Okay. I am a tad shady. Could be tad shady. I am defensive, guarded at times. I'm a learner. I love to learn about new things. I love to go down rabbit holes and find out information. I'm a lover of track and field. Alex and Felix being one of my favorite athletes. Shelly and Fraser Price also being up in the top ranks. I'm a person who loves to eat. I love to cook sometimes. I love to travel. I love dance. Yeah, I think those are the major ones.
Got it. Got it. The quote that just came to my mind is from Walt Whitman. I am large, I contain multitudes. That's all I could hear as you were describing yourself.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Yes, 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 yes.
That's awesome. Thank you so much. So here we are already at question 6, which is there anything I should have asked you that I didn't, or you wanted me to ask you that I didn't? In other words, what did I miss?
I don't know. Because I feel like this interview has been different. I think normally I was probably expecting like, a life story would be asked, different anecdotes and different things that's happened in my career. Like I said, I'm from Los Angeles. I was born in the 80s amid the Ronald Reagan war on drugs, where a lot of Black men were incarcerated. Like I said, my father and cousins, a couple of my cousins, male and female, were part of the gangs in Los Angeles and was incarcerated. So seeing incarceration was definitely a part of my upbringing. I have vivid memories of like visiting my cousin. She was in a juvenile hall camp, and we were there. And I remember us having like fun, right? And then the time came for us to leave, and I remember my cousin like really crying, and just knowing that was something I did not ever want to cross. I was raised in the Black church. Church is where my first safety came, because being raised in LA in the 80s and the drugs and the gang violence, and being raised also in the urban part of the city, South Central, that is, you can get harassed, you get bullied. You can be walking down the street and, there's gang shootings and, I read or heard on the news, little boys like me would just get shot just walking, going from school. So, some kind of way I found church, and church began to be like this safe haven. That would tell you if a gang member came up to you and said, what set you from? You say, I'm from Jesus Christ, something like that. Um, but then inside of church, I really fell in love with choirs. And that's where my pageantry and my love for pageantry and music really got developed. Somewhere inside of there, I met a young man named Magisha Francis, who exposed me to musical theater. And then my mom decided to send me to Hamilton High School, magnet school in Los Angeles. And there, the plan was I was going to become a vocalist because, like I said, I was involved in choirs. I was a choir director. I love music. And, my mom just saw a talent there and said, you sing, you should go here and study music. But some kind of way in there, I did not want to do physical education. And I had already did physical education my freshman year at my private school. So me transferring to this school, I said, no more physical education. Because going back to that question about manhood, I just felt that like I had to be a certain way. I'm giving out my age because remember, up until now, I think you have physical education separate. Girls and boys were separate. So you never could be together. It was separate. And then, it was just really a lot of testosterone, a lot of toxic masculinity happening in that space. And you can't see it right now, but I was pretty athletic. I can get through the things and I'm very competitive. So when it came down to a lot of the things, a lot of the boys would sometimes try to taunt me and say like, you're not going to be able to do this. And I would have to like bust a move and hit them with some pull-ups and hit them with some push-ups and get through it. And I just realized when I got to Hamilton, I was like, I don't want to do that here. So back to me being a learner, I read through all my paperwork and found that if I became a musical theater major, I would have to take a dance class, and that dance class would take the replacement of physical education class. So I said, boom. Magisha, he introduced me to musical theater. My mom wants me to sing. And with dance, I don't have to take physical education. This is a win-win. Here we go. So got inside of it. And the semester I had like intermediate musical theater class and I had beginner dance class, right? And in beginner dance class, I sucked. I was not good. But in musical theater class, I was a rising star. But something about dance just took me. It just had me. It had me at hello. I was like, okay. And then when I got to musical theater class, I would try to really rev up the dance scenes. And my musical theater and vocal teacher was like, that's not going to be, you're not going to be ensemble. You're going to be over here. And I was like, no, like I want to, get that. So some kind of way dance just flipped. And my teachers, Karen McDonald and Andre Calame, Michelle Blossom, really took me into their spaces. And then I began to grow and excel in some kind of way by the whim. I went to New York. I studied at the Ailey School. Came back home to Los Angeles, danced with Lula Washington Dance Theater, and then some kind of way ended up at PhiladANCO. And my life just has been keep going and going. And I just feel that one thing I will say about all those spaces, Hamilton, the Ailey School, Lula Washington, and PhiladANCO, they've all been spaces where they uplift and see. They saw me and saw a man like me. They've been safe havens. Again, like I said, I'm a 90s baby. And, the AIDS epidemic came into full swing. And I think that being a part of the Ailey School at 18 in New York, you just had teachers who really made sure they looked out for you and protected you. And you felt safe in those spaces to be who you are, to grow into who you want to be. And I definitely think moving to Philadelphia and Dance with the PhiladANCO made me the man that you see today. I think I really had an opportunity to grow up and to really spread my wings in spaces. So I think that is something I was going to share, that I thought I would share. So I shared it.
I'm so glad that you did share that. That's really what a journey. So much there, so much there. And I'm really glad that you found your way to Philadelphia. I'm glad that you found dance and dance found you. And, I do believe that one has to, if you're a good dancer, you have to hear the music, like, or feel the music, the vibrations of it, all of that. And so it makes sense. It makes complete sense to me that you would be both a vocalist and a dancer in the musical theater space and then whatever else other spaces, as well as choir. Also,
Can I intrude though and say that connection with music and choir and gospel and spirituality and my choreography did not come to me until a friend at a talk. Like I was doing an artist chat, and I was like, showing videos from one of the first videos of gospel choirs, Ricky Diller with Patti LaBelle special in Chicago. And some kind of way just saying, making a scenario though, that's when I first started to do choreography. As I'm doing choreography with my hands, I would make up this choreography. I was a showman. Let me tell y'all this, okay? When the choir was about to sing and I was standing, it was performance. It was coming at you. But two things would happen. I would practice, right, this style of directing I wanted to look like, but then I would let spirit move me. So it wasn't, my mom would always enforce to me, like, don't be up there, don't be egotistical, be humble, allow God to work through you. So I definitely was trying to manifest that. But yeah, I was doing the artist talk, and I showed this video of the Ricky Diller on the Patti LaBelle special and talked about me making up choreography in the mirror and just kind of make this analogy. And that's when I became a choreographer, quote unquote. And a friend of mine stood up and was like, well, there's a lot of spiritual and church aspects in your choreography. He said, you directing the choir. He said, there's a call and response, there's canon, there's 4 lines. There's always this type of choral movement. So I didn't know that, again, like I said earlier, like how can I get inside of my life and really see how these building blocks, because I felt at that time when I was singing, I thought I was gonna be the next Luther Vandross. I was ready. But then dance came through and I went with it. And when I tell you, when I went with dance and my entire family, my Aunt Josephine, my mama, my brother, they all were like, what is happening? And it took like 3 years. It took my senior year, the fall of my senior year is when my mom was like, oh, wow, you're kind of good. Like, that's when she started, because at first she's like, I just was coming to these things and it was rough. So really, yeah. And then now with teaching, people always compliment. And as a choreographer, people always compliment on the music I'm choosing and how I'm manipulating and seeing and hearing music. And I definitely think that's because I had to go down that road to get here for that. Okay, that was my intrusion.
No, that's beautiful. It makes so much sense to me. And it's funny because, I actually think it doesn't matter. It's better when you recognize it, right? When you recognize the class or when you recognize the connections. But sometimes, as in your work, and as your friend pointed out, it doesn't even matter because it's going to come through anyway. So you might not recognize it, but it's still there. It doesn't change. It's like gravity, right? Like what's going up, coming down, whether you know it or not, know the law. That is get gravity, right? And I feel like creativity in many respects is very much like that. And it's just really wonderful to see. I know for sure, once I realized who I actually am, things changed. Like it was all the same ingredients, if you will, but somehow or another, things just got into alignment and became easier. Not that life necessarily becomes easier. It does in many respects. In some ways, it becomes harder, right? Because you're like swimming against the tide. And in other ways, it's so much easier because the tide is taking you. It's a weird kind of thing that I still don't understand it. I just know what I know. And so
Absolutely.
I'm so grateful, I'm grateful that we get to hear from you today. I'm really grateful for your presence in the world. And I just honor you, my king. I do pray that your epic dream comes true sooner rather than later. Laura Raska. I can never say her last name.
There it is. From
the Painted Bride, the story Painted Bride.
Laura.
Great. Laurel's great. Her daughter, Gabby, is great. And
Oh,
so,
Laura,
yeah,
and you know, speaking of the Guggenheim, Laura wrote me a recommendation.
wow. That,
She used to write my recommendations. Her, Terry Fox, you speak her
mhm.
name, Donna Faye Birchfield, Joan Myers Brown, all those four ladies have written me countless letters of recommendations for things.
Well, that is really beautiful. And the fact that, you go from being sucky to Guggenheim is also, it is a model. And especially, I want young people to hear that sometimes, I heard something years and years ago, love something so much that you are willing to be bad at it first before you
Mm,
become good, right? And if you're willing we all have to learn. We're all bad at walking when we start.
hmm
When we keep it up and we're persistent and we get the outside encouragement. And sometimes you don't get outside encouragement for the things that inside of you is pulling you towards something. You have to have that internal fortitude to keep going, and you will get better at it. And
Yes,
you
yes.
become the cream of the
Yeah.
crop and get a Guggenheim, which is so
Yeah.
awesome. So I just, like I said, I honor you, my king. I'm so grateful that you are here, and I just really appreciate you taking the time to have a conversation with us today.
Thank you for having me. I so enjoyed it. Thank you.
Absolutely. Thank you. And stay right there because I want to thank the audience for joining us. I really hope that you enjoyed this conversation as much as I have. And if there's a positive and successful Black man in your life who you want to hear from and see highlighted in this forum, please click the link below or in my bio, fill out the nomination form, and we'll take it from there. That is how we actually met Mr. Tommie-Waheed Evans today. And I'm super excited and grateful for that. I often say success does not equal what a man does for a living. Honestly, I don't care as long as it's legal and not hurting people, because they don't necessarily have to be the same thing. Because ultimately it's about the content of one's character and how you can make an impact. As you know, we've had a number of brothers who were formerly incarcerated and were able to get out and change their lives around and change the lives of those around them. And some of them, because of their former status, may not be able to achieve the employment, if you will, of what they should. So many of them actually start their own thing. So I don't really care about the day-to-day job thing. Are you making a difference in the community? And those are the brothers that we also want to contribute to this repository. So please, next week, stay tuned for yet another amazing king. And please remember to spread love and have a great day. Thank you so much. And Mr. Tommie-Waheed, thank you so much, darling. I really appreciate it.
Thank you. Thank you.